The Islamic laws of inheritance, known as Ilm al-Farid, the science of obligations, are a detailed and sophisticated legal system revealed in the Quran. They represent a revolutionary reform of pre-Islamic customs and are considered one of the major miracles of Islamic law for their precision and justice. The core reasoning is that these are divine commands from Allah in the Quran. However, within this framework, there is profound wisdom and reasoning that can be understood by humans. The reasoning behind the Islamic laws of inheritance. Divine command and social justice. The primary reason is that Allah, the all-knowing and all-just, has decreed it. This alone is sufficient for a believer. The system is designed to achieve perfect social justice by preventing the concentration of wealth in a few hands and ensuring its distribution among a wide range of relatives. A radical reform. In pre-Islamic Arabia, Jahiliyyah, only adult, male warriors who could defend the tribe had the right to inherit. Women, children, and the elderly were themselves considered property to be inherited and received nothing. The Quranic revelation was revolutionary. It granted women a mandatory share, a right they were systematically denied. It granted children, both male and female, a right to inheritance. It expanded the pool of heirs beyond just the strongest male relatives. A balanced system of responsibilities. The shares are often analyzed in the context of financial responsibilities in a traditional Islamic society. A man's share is generally equal to that of two females in the same class, e.g., son versus daughter, because he bears the sole financial responsibility for his immediate family, wife, children, his parents if needed, and other unmarried female relatives. A woman's share is hers to own and control absolutely. She has no legal obligation to spend it on anyone, not even herself, as her maintenance is the responsibility of her male relatives, father, brother, husband. Her inheritance is purely her personal wealth and security. Strengthening the family unit. By mandating shares for parents, spouses, and children, the system ensures that the nuclear and extended family is cared for after a person's death, preventing the disintegration of the family structure. Preventing feuds and litigation. By clearly defining shares in a mathematical way, the system leaves little room for dispute and potential family feuds over an estate. The core principles and laws. The rules are primarily derived from four key Quranic verses in Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, verses 11, 12, and 176. 1. Fixed shareholders, Ashab al-Furud. These are the relatives who have a right to a fixed, ordained portion of the estate. The main fixed shares are: heir share, fraction, condition. Wife 1/8 if the deceased has children or grandchildren. 1/4 if the deceased has no children or grandchildren. Husband 1/4 if the deceased has children or grandchildren. 1/2 if the deceased has no children or grandchildren. Daughter 1/2 only one daughter, and no son. 2/3 two or more daughters, and no son. Shared equally. Becomes a residuary if there is a son, she gets half of what the son gets. Father 1/6 if the deceased has a child, son, daughter. Becomes a residuary if the deceased has no children. Mother 1/6 if the deceased has children or has two or more siblings. 1/3 if the deceased has no children and no more than one sibling. True grandfather 1/6 if the deceased has a child, and the father is dead. True grandmother 1/6 provided no mother or a nearer grandmother is alive. Full sister 1/2 only one sister, and no parents, children, grandchildren. 2/3 two or more sisters, and no parents, children, grandchildren. Becomes a residuary if there is a brother, she gets half of what the brother gets. 2. The residuaries, Asaba. After the fixed shares have been distributed, the remainder of the estate is given to the residuaries. This group is predominantly male and includes son, son's son, grandson, father, full brother, paternal half-brother, paternal uncle, etc. The daughter's special case. A daughter who receives a fixed share when alone can also become a residuary, and get more. If she is with a son, she gets half of his share. 3. Key rules for distribution. The principle of exclusion. Some heirs are excluded by the presence of others. For example, a grandfather excludes a brother, a son excludes a grandson. The principle of all increase. If the sum of the fixed shares adds up to more than one, the whole estate, each share is reduced proportionally. For example, if the only heirs are a husband, 1/2, and 2 full sisters, 2/3, the total is 1/2 plus 2/3 equals 7/6. The shares are reduced proportionally to make the total 1. The principle of return. If there are no residuaries and there is a surplus left after giving the fixed shares, the surplus is returned to the fixed shareholders, except the spouse, in proportion to their shares. The spouse does not participate in the return, because the verse specifying their share does not allow for an increase. The first estate, a person cannot will away more than 1/3 of their total estate to non-heirs, e.g., charities, friends, without the consent of the legal heirs. This protects the rights of the family. A non-Muslim does not inherit from a Muslim, and vice versa. A simple example. Scenario: a man dies, leaving behind his wife, his mother, 2 daughters. Distribution: wife gets 1/8 because he has children. Mother gets 1/6 because he has children. 2 daughters, together, they get 2/3, as there is no son. Let's calculate. 1/8 plus 1/6 plus 2/3 equals 3/24 plus 4/24 plus 16/24 equals 23/24. The total is less than 1/24. The remaining 1/24 will be distributed to the heirs via the return process, as there is no residuary, like a son, present. In conclusion, the Islamic law of inheritance is a comprehensive system designed to ensure the fair, logical, and divinely mandated distribution of wealth. While it can appear complex, its core objectives are clear: to uphold justice, protect the rights of the vulnerable, like women and children, strengthen family bonds, and execute the wishes of God as revealed in the Quran. It moves the distribution of wealth from human whims to a structured, divine command.